My story that I'm going to tell is about my grandmother, Aline Carranza, or as I lovingly called her growing up, Nanny. My nanny is a wonderful person. She's a strong, independent woman who can do anything that she puts her mind to, or if she can't, she'll make my papa do it.
Did you ever ask a boy to dance?
Yes, I did.
What did they think about that?
They said that wasn't the right thing to do, that you were supposed to wait for the boy to come get you to dance. But if I ever found someone that I really wanted to dance with, I would go up to them and say, hey, how would you like to dance?
In a farming family in 1943 in Deanville, Texas. And she was much different than her peers because she had to work hard for her family. Every morning from the time she was very small, she would go out to the field to help her mother and her father and her sister pick cotton. In order to make it a game, her mom would draw animals on their little pick sacks, and sometimes she would have a squirrel, sometimes a rabbit, or sometimes even a skunk, and would be told to fill her animal up until its belly was full, and then she'd be done. So every day, she would go out and pick cotton and fill her animal up until her animal was full. Every day, her mother would leave the field just a little bit early, and she would go home and cook dinner. And then by the time her father and her sister would get to the house, they would have a nice home-cooked meal. Her mother did stuff in the house, laundry, cooking, cleaning, dishes, and her father did stuff outside, feeding the animals, taking care of the grounds, and fixing equipment. But farming wasn't the only thing that she was good at. As she got a little bit older, my nanny liked to go dancing. Her and her sister and her parents would go to the different dance halls and ask boys to dance, much to her parents' dismay. If she saw a guy that she wanted to dance with, he was getting asked no matter what. Growing up, she was a self-proclaimed daddy's girl. She loved spending time with her father, and she would help him, get all greasy with him if he was fixing an equipment, and help as much as she could around the farm. While her sister, on the other hand, stayed inside with her mother, cooking and cleaning and doing laundry, and quite enjoying that lifestyle. Once a year, both girls would get clothes ordered. Once the cotton was sold, her mother would put in an order, and they'd get new clothes. Up until then, her aunt and her mother would make their clothes for them. Nanny wanted to be a nurse. That was her dream job. But when she graduated high school, she got married to my papa, and they started having children. One boy and one girl, or my Uncle Milton and my mom. Both children just the same. She did say that my papa favored my mother just a little bit more and was quite a bit harder on my uncle. But both children grew up just as she had hoped and planned, both successful, with beautiful families and spouses that loved them. Different. Girls can do things that girls couldn't do back then. They can play baseball if they want to, and they can ask boys on dates or to dances, and nobody will tell them anything different. Marriage is different in her eyes now, too. When she was 17 years old, just out of high school, it wasn't easy for her, but her and my papa worked at their marriage, and they worked hard. If they had a disagreement, they talked about it, and they got over it. Now, everybody jumps into divorce. Every time anybody has a problem, their first answer is to get out of their marriage. But when she was growing up, when she was young, you really had to work at marriage. It wasn't something that you just tossed by the wayside every time you had an argument. Annie was a stay-at-home mom for both of her children. She took on traditional roles, the same that her mother had, like cooking, cleaning, doing the dishes, and the laundry for the entire family. Her husband went out and worked. She stayed home and took care of the kids and the household. Annie's life didn't turn out exactly as she had planned, being a nurse and working. She's incredibly happy with how things have turned out. She loves her family and is so fulfilled by her children and her grandchildren. And she's the happiest that she thinks she could have ever been.